Dangerous mind. It took for a while to make me realize that I'm not a philosopher. I don't know what a dangerous mind is, at least in philosophical way. But I hope sharing my story will help you find your own dangerous mind. When I was young, I was just an ordinary boy in North Korea. I had a hard time waking up in the morning, spent almost all day acting out the adventures of my favorite cartoon characters, climbing the trees, jumping down, thinking that I could fly one day. But when I was 13, everything changed. My father died of starvation. Soon after, my sister went to China to earn money. She promised me that she would return shortly with my favorite food. And then my mom disappeared one day. Since then, I haven't seen them till these days. Suddenly, I became an orphan, one of many homeless boys and girls in North Korea at that time. I was so shy that I couldn't even speak to my classmates in school. But one day, I found myself on the street begging for food. I went up to the customers in the local market, asking them, "Can you please give me your leftover soup?" More than 1,000 times inside my head before I actually said it out loud. This is where I gave up my dignity. I gave up to live as human. All I worried was about being survived. The city market, a place almost all children came here at least once in their childhood, tagging along with their mothers, deciding which toys to buy. But now it became a place for begging, a place to survive for the next 2 hours. The train stations, where I used to come with excitement to visiting my grandparents in another town, became a shelter for a long, chilly night with an empty stomach. My first night in the train station, I cried so much, lying down on the corner of a wooden bench. The station reminded me of the past, the times that I came here with my parents and my sister, waiting for the train to come, excited to start another family trip. What made me cry the most was not the hunger pain or cold. It was the loneliness, the emptiness inside my heart. During this time, I saw countless malnourished children lying on dirt, agonizing with their hunger pains, waiting for their times to come. Once, I saw about a 5-year-old boy lying down, repeating the same word over and over: food, food, food. The next day, he began to call, "Mom, Mom, where are you, Mom?" This was his last word, wishing his mother would bring him food. The next 2 days, he just whispered so softly that I couldn't understand what he was trying to say. When he died, the police came over and took away the corpse. Homeless friends I met during this time were probably the smartest friends I met. Some were only 5 years old, some just turning 8. We didn't have any education. Some didn't even know how to multiply 9 times 9. But we came up with our own ways to survive. For example, in a market, the most popular place for homeless was the food court. We stored what we found there, but it became harder and harder to do so because the merchants came up with their own ideas to protect their food from us by covering with fishing nets so that people were able to see what was it there for sale, but almost impossible for us to steal it. So instead, we went to vegetable markets, where they sell peppers, onions, and garlics. The merchants didn't expect we were going to steal raw peppers, so it became easier to steal. But when I say steal, I don't mean massive, maybe 5 pieces of peppers. Then we went back to the food court to exchange with food. This is how we survived. I think my dangerous idea was having hope to survive for the next 2 hours, not for the next 20 days, not for the next 20 years. When I could not fall asleep from bitter cold or hunger pains, I hoped that my sister would come back to wake me up the next morning with my favorite food. That hope kept me alive. I don't mean big, grand hope. I mean the kind of hope that made me believe the next trash can had bread. And yes, most of the time, there was no bread in the next trash can. And yes, the next day was not any better than the previous one. In fact, my sister still hasn't shown up. But if I gave up on hope to survive, I wouldn't be here today. After 3 years of waiting for my sister's return, I decided to go to China to look for her myself. I realized I couldn't survive much longer. I knew the journey would be risky, but I would be risking my life either ways. I could die of starvation like my father did in North Korea, or at least I can try for a better life by escaping to China. I had learned that many people tried to cross the river during the nighttime to avoid being seen by anyone. North Korean border guards often shoot and kill people who try to cross the border without permission. Chinese soldiers will catch and send them back to North Korea, where they face severe punishment. I decided to cross during the daytime. First, because I was still a kid. I was afraid of the dark. And since not many people tried during the daytime, I thought that I might be able to make it without being seen by anyone. I made it to China on February 15, 2006. I thought things in China would be easier since there was more food. But it was even harder than living in North Korea because I was always worried of being caught and sent back. By a miracle, some months later, I met an NGO called Libertad in North Korea, or LINK, who runs an underground shelter for North Korean refugees in China. By their help, I was able to go to the United States as an North Korean refugee. My life in America was different. The nights became shorter and shorter, easier to sleep, because I had food, I had a blanket, I had a place to sleep. But one day I had a nightmare. It was about being chased by Chinese police. When I woke up, my pajamas were all wet by my sweat. My anxious about my own survival was gone, but I realized that my friends were still living in a nightmare every day. The nightmare that I had lived many years ago. I don't know how I'm gonna wake them up. I really don't know, so please help me. Once we wake them up, we all can ask what their dangerous mind was. Hope is personal. Hope is something that no one can give it to you. You have to believe in hope. You have to make it yourself. My message for you today is, don't try to find hope. Try to make your own hope. My second message today for you is that don't give up. And yes, I am well aware of that life can be hard regardless of where you live, whether in North Korea or in America or Mexico. So I can't just ask you saying, don't give up. I had given up many things in order to survive. But don't give up your life. Things that you give up, there is chance, there is probability that you might be able to get them back as long as you're alive. But as far as I know, life, when you give up your life, there is no chance that you can get them back. Thank you so much.